I am here with Mr. Jon McMahon, graduate of the London Real Business Accelerator. Jon, tell us about you.
Well, we use the term graduate loosely.
We'll get to that. But tell us where you're from. What do you normally do?
Well, I was born in Sydney, Australia, and you can tell by my Australian accent, right? But no, I was raised in California. Been there since I was like 2, and I've spent most of my life moving around. I've moved probably, I think it's around almost 60 times in my life since I was born. I quit counting. One time I counted up, I think I lost track at about 54. So I don't know why that's in my genes, but I move around a lot. But mostly California, US, and spent some time when I wrote about 3 or 4 colleges, did my degree in computer science, got out, and I got a great job with Sprint Communications right at the height of the telecommunications boom when Sprint was laying its fiber optic cable, and I was in network operations. It was a group of like 76 people in that organization, and in 18 months we laid like 23,000 miles of fiber optic cable. We had we blew up our radio RF network, sold in a show saying Sprint is the first 100% fiber optic cable network, and before AT&T and anybody else, DARPANET, the internet, AOL, they were all on our backbone. It was a very, very exciting time, and this was in the in the late 80s. And we sold our RF equipment to China, and it was just fun to be part of that, and I kind of got hooked on that, and I think that awoken an entrepreneurial spirit in me that continued to become a pattern in my life and then extend into my personal life as well for growth.
Wow, that sounds like a rock and roll time to be in that industry.
Oh, it was incredible. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I caught the next wave, which was in the late 90s, in that internet boom. And I also participated in the bust.
Okay. And if you had to summarize your involvement in the internet boom and bust in like a minute, what were you doing?
In 1 minute.
Yeah.
Flying around with Enron on their flagship jet that Bush used to fly on, wheeling and dealing, basically architecting the next, the equivalent of their electrical arbitrage onto the internet with some technology that we had developed, and then participating, basically being a core of the executive team that built Interview, that sold to Akamai for $2.8 billion, which has become like the caching background network that's, for today, that holds all, streaming and Netflix and all of that. That was the height.
Wow.
And then,
when was that? When was that sale to Akamai?
That was in January 2000.
Okay, right before the bust. Right?
Yeah.
I remember I had a meeting with Akamai in New York because I was at a .com startup, and like they were the big thing. I mean,
they were the marketing big thing.
Yeah, right.
The meat, what gave them the meat was the Interview network that they bought.
Okay.
And because that was what CNN and Microsoft had invested in us, $50 million. And so all that CNN streaming, all the pioneering that they did during the Monica Lewinsky trials, where that was all streamed live over the internet, that was all on our network. And it was a network that I was the executive director of network architecture and operations, and brought in from Sprint. There's 3 of us that kind of took a dream that we had for streaming media at Sprint that we couldn't get funded. It was a $100 million budget, and just Sprint didn't want to move forward. We would have built Netflix in 1992 on the Sprint backbone, because we had put fiber optic cables into a couple hundred homes right to the set-top box in like 1991 in Pacifica, right outside of Burlingame, which is where the Sprint labs were, which used to be like the AT&T labs. Ours were in San Francisco, and we were streaming and doing off of laser discs.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Yeah,
great.
so that was
you've done
that was the height,
Okay.
and then it was coming off of that with hubris and arrogance and everything the spirit of Enron, of just disloyalty, and it just so it brought out some of the worst, the best in me and some of the worst. And doing another startup, raising, millions of dollars, and going through up and down Sand Hill Road, coming to London, Korea, raising money, and we were just getting in the final due diligence, like the 5th round of final, dotting I's and crossing T's with JP Morgan for 20 million for worldstreaming.net, which I was a founder and CEO, CTO, and then that's when it hit. Everything that was in Series B, pre-revenue, all the funding stopped. Everything shut down. It was like within 60 days, that whole venture capital bubble burst.
This is like what, 07, 08?
No, this was the 01,
Oh,
02,
01, right,
the
that's when it all
early
fell
one,
out.
the
Okay,
first one,
gotcha, okay.
the big explosion.
Right, okay. So that fell out.
The big venture capital washout.
Right.
And it was.
And what happened after that? And then what were the last 5 years like for you?
It was like the last 10 years. Since then, it's been like Moses in the wilderness, trying to reshape and get rid of the worst parts of ego and that kind of hubris that was going on at that time.
Because you had so much success so early on, do you think?
Oh yeah, I remember walking down Fifth Avenue, going from some different investment banks and meetings around Wall Street, and just thinking, man, I didn't think making $1 billion was going to be this hard. You're sitting on 5 million shares of founder stock, and you just walk out of a $120 opening with interview just before Akamai buys them, and it was so insane, it was so unreal, that in coming back down to earth is just like reshaping me. And
Okay. And what was the challenge that brought you to us? What was going on in your mind to come join us on this course?
a rebirth, really. You can have a lot of talents and do things, but it was your interview with Phil McKiernan that really, all of your interviews were so inspiring, and everything that you bring to the world through your portal. But Phil really, really spoke to me, and you've had him in focus groups 2 or 3 times. The Vancouver Real guys interviewed him again, and it was just something. And then I heard him speak in Las Vegas as well, at another group, and it was that message that of just being in alignment with your story. And it's what you do in the Business Accelerator is just get into your story. You may be good at 100 different things, but there's one thing that's really particular to your hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
That goes back to your core, and that's really what drew me to your group and this process, because it just like awoken something in me. So that's why I started that with you.
Okay. And so you were going through some external and internal challenges, just like where am I going to go, trying to get to the next level, trying to figure out
clarity.
Clarity.
I wanted clarity. There's these competing things in my head of what I wanted to do and not want to do. I want to stay in this comfortable little place where I've withdrawn from the world, gotten rid of all technology, gotten rid of just kind of, I can just enjoy the day and I'm happy just walking down the beach or creating so much space in my life, and quiet, but it's too isolated. I need to interact with the world. I need to connect, and what you really awaken in this process is that we have a value, we have something that we need to contribute to the world, and it's almost a moral responsibility that we have to wake that up and polish that. And we've got to do that we've got to interact with our peers, we've got to interact socially, we've got to refine our gift, and whatever that may be, and get over the fact that I'm not good enough. Who am I to tell anybody anything about, whatever topic it may be, masculinity. I'm this fat, balding, 52-year-old guy, dropout loser from the internet boom of 15 years ago that nobody cares about, that didn't pick up the pieces afterwards, just kind of, living on a beach in Mexico and just swearing off the world, basically putting my thumb in my mouth, saying, "Oh, if I'm not going to, make it, I'm not going to give the universe anything. If you're not going to make me this billionaire and have," it was just that whole journey. It took a long time. I'm a stubborn fool.
Which is probably why you were so successful in the past. But yeah, I know I can see that in you now, to where you're like, okay, my big plans didn't work out, so
now I'm lazy.
Fuck you, world, and now I'm not going to engage, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to engage. And comfort zone. It's fear.
It's fear.
Am I relevant? I'm old. I'm this. I'm that.
And so, what's a guy who's had, meetings with Wall Street investment banks, flying on the corporate jet of Enron, doing all these huge things, joining the London Real Business Accelerator? It doesn't seem like an obvious move for you. So what made you actually do it?
Presenting to the Intel board on Sand Hill Road and Soros Group and all those guys.
And for people that don't know, Sand Hill Road is what all the smart VC money is in Silicon Valley. So.
Oh, yeah, and you get the personal introductions from the partners at Wilson Sonsini, One
of the biggest law firms, yeah.
Yeah, and it's...
So why join our accelerator?
Because it's not just about content. It's not about information. There's so much information on the internet. You can figure out, you can educate yourself for free on the internet. What you can't do is connect with a community. And you can't be successful alone. And that is the key, to connect with like-minded people. The quality and the frequency of the people that you attract in your organization and your message is extraordinary. And it was your authenticity that first attracted, because I didn't know the people that were involved. Then it was the academy, your whole funnel. It works, and it's not a gimmick. The funnel, mixing with the people in the academy, it's like, oh, the first time I touch the academy funnel, it's, oh, hey, it's Emily, how can I help you, da-da-da-da-da. And then you get in there, and right out of the blue, a bunch of these people want to friend you, and they're like-minded, and you see what they're doing, and they're all just have this beautiful, it's not entrepreneurial from a business standpoint, it's life entrepreneurship. Yeah. They want to be entrepreneurs of their life, taking responsibility, creating. I mean, and there's the next step. Then there's the business accelerator, and well, yeah, that's reawakening this ambition from a much cleaner, more rooted and aligned place. And then I'm in the accelerator, and then beyond all my expectations, you get these 90 people and these groups of 10 or 15 and all these awesome coaches and all this personal touch and these relationships building. That's worth more than any content that you could pack into those 8 weeks. But you took us from soup to nuts. All the tools were there. And it was a lot of, hey, there wasn't hand holding. It wasn't, here's an over the shoulder of how to open an account at, this or that, or how to set up this, it's just the little bits and pieces. And hey, go figure this out. Because part of the challenge is part of the teaching, and I finally got this, is for you to figure some of this stuff out on your own. And that's a nuance. That's a real nuance in education, and I didn't really fully appreciate it, even until now when I'm trying to articulate it.
Mm. What was the biggest challenge the whole time for you?
The resistance, not feeling worthy, having to face just my own internal low self-esteem. Can't, starting over, can't do it, fear of failure, fear of success, even probably more than anything. That, wow, if I'm successful, all of a sudden it's going to take up all this time. Look at Brian. He's talking to us. It's Sunday night. He's in his house. It's 7 o'clock, his time. He's going to be there till 8, probably rapping till 8:30 with his team, and then I know he's doing a super focus group that Friday night. What? I don't want that kind of life. I don't want to be doing 60 tweets and worrying about Instagrams and video interviews, then supporting my team once I get my funnel full. But that's part of living. It's letting that life energy flow through you. So it's waking up. It was a fear of success that I would have to actually work.
It's really well articulated,
But it's living, not it's. I realized there's no stagnant. Where I was at, being isolated with this open expanse of free time, I was dying. I was in a downward spiral. I was losing through social interaction, I was getting stuck in my head most of the time. I didn't have, it wasn't an outlet. And that's what being in the Business Accelerator woke up and said, hey, you got to get busy and engage, re-engage with life. Because there's no comfort zone. You're never equilibrium. You're going slowly down or you're going slowly up, but you're always moving. You're decaying or you're growing, you're expanding or you're contracting. And I realized, and I was afraid I was contracting, I was dying.
Yeah, we really push the people to kind of get out there and re-engage, and there's a lot of resistance in there. People are uncomfortable to do a lot of that stuff. And yeah, we kept pushing quite a bit. But like weeks into the course, you said what you just said now. You're like, Brian, the people here and the energy here is something that's powerful. And I really appreciate you saying that. Because sometimes I forget, what we have around us. And like you mentioned these things, like we were at that focus group last night, and you saw those people and all those students, and then we're here this morning first thing. But like about a year ago, I had this realization that like I don't have to do London Real, I get to do London Real.
Yeah.
So for me, I get like 10x back with energy of all that stuff. Now, if this was a job, it would be different.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I would be grumbling. I'd be like, oh, I wear a suit on a Saturday? That's crazy. But now it's like I get the awesome pleasure of talking to you right now, which is, a gift.
That's what I told a couple last night at the super focus group that was asking me about the accelerator. And I told them what you said. I told them the story of, hey, look, this is Brian's Friday night. He's going to be working Saturday, and if he was in the business accelerator, he'd have another call Sunday night. And the only thing that's going to push you through to do something like that is if you're really aligned with something that's your story that you own. You are the brand. It's got to come from deep inside, and that's the difference between this accelerator program. It taps into that. It doesn't say, hey, you're an accountant, you've got this, you have this intellectual property, you have this knowledge, you have many, many talents, but there's one that's like a chiropractor. It puts you into alignment, and all of a sudden, man, your spine gets straight, your energy flows, and you'll push through those nights, you'll work those long weekends, and it just, because you can't do anything else, you care about it so much.
Yeah. Biggest win for you at the end of this course, or when you're looking back, what's the thing that you feel proud of doing?
Doing those video logs, yeah, and getting feedback from somebody in West Bengal and Siliguri at the foot of the Himalayas going up to Darjeeling, and sending me a Skype message and say, Jon, man, you really touched me, you really inspired me with that, and going, just the humility of it, and thinking, wow, maybe I have something to offer other people. And then you get attend to that responsibility. Well, I better get my shit together.
Yeah, I kept pushing you the whole course, Jon, you remember. And I was like, Jon, man, we need this message because you're such a passionate guy, man. I could see that in the first week or two. And you got all these things you want to get out there and tell the world, and you got a lot. You want to fix a lot of things, a lot of things you think are wrong. And then sometimes you're like, but I don't know if they're ready. I don't know if I'm ready to be that guy. And so I still want more of you out there, Jon, and I think you've done a lot, but I hope you keep going forward with this thing. What are your plans?
I will, with this community, to stay connected with this community and like-minded people like this. It's a lifeblood.
What was it like meeting a bunch of your fellow grads last night?
Oh, the super focus group was amazing. It was amazing.
What did you feel there or see there?
I was surprised by some of their stories, because I love being around this kind of people. Their stories of how they are having a hard time out in the world with other people that don't get it, that are asleep consciously. Like your story of when you're in the park and the police coming, and just you're just trying to engage in a conversation, and them kind of freaking out. When you're trying to do the Wim Hof.
Yeah, I was doing the active meditation.
Yeah, the active meditation.
Yeah.
And just and to try to interact with the police, and you're just in the park doing active meditation, and they're all freaking out because you're outside of this socially conditioned bubble. But
it was nice for you to know there's other people getting that same feeling out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're all together, and they're all doing this active meditation together, and growing and expanding. got to stay connected to that.
And if you had to explain the community in our accelerator, how would you do it? I mean, like you said, 90 people from around the world. I mean, this weekend you rented that house.
Around the world.
Around the world. So how can you be friends with all these people that speak different languages that you never met before?
Oh, easily. Easily. It's like being with brothers and sisters, you know? Just like, you saw Julie last night from Paris.
Yeah.
That her whole thing of bringing scent back into your life and kind of reviving, you know, our nose and little things like that. And then, you know, Klaus from Switzerland doing all this stuff in Africa. And then, you know, you got these geniuses like Max coming up here, you know, young, just full of energy and brilliant. Of course. Where else are you going to go?
Yeah, I'm inspired, man. I love this class.
I have a challenge for you. I want you to interview Aubrey de Grey.
Oh, I already have.
You did?
I did. He drank a beer during the show. My only guest to ever do that.
Oh, that's awesome.
How do you like that?
So how long, have you ever mapped out your life to live like to 140 or 150?
And then do the how many days left. There's like Kevin Kelly has a timer on his computer that says like 12,000 days left, just to remind him every day that, you know, there's not much time.
I'd have to do the opposite.
Yeah?
Yeah. You know, Aubrey says the first person to live to 1,000 years old has been born on this planet already.
He's a powerful man.
And if you like I just said, I for a long time thought, well, you know, I just had this feeling I was going to live at least to 140. And then where things are going with technology and longevity, the ability to dial us back to our prime in our late 20s, early 30s is right around the corner. We're like within a decade of that. And once the first thing hits, you know, that's going to be a logarithmic growth to more technology and more things happening. And you map out your life just to 140 years, to say at 140, what will I have done? It changes your entire perspective during the day of how you approach the day when you have that much time. Like, wow, I could carve out a decade to study music.
I'm going to do that. Final thoughts on the course, if people don't even know what we're talking about, and, you know, where you go from here.
The course?
Yeah.
Like an outline?
Or just final thoughts on, you know, you've been through this now. You know, what do you take from this course and the people here going forward? And, you know, what would have happened if we didn't have you on this course?
Oh, if I didn't do this course, I wouldn't have gotten out of my head and gotten done and hit the track running with what I need to give, with what I need to do. The business course takes you from the idea, get you aligned. That's week one. Then you're getting your shit together with your journey and your story, week two, and then you're implementing. It's all about execution. And at the end, you know, you keep up, you have the stuff, and people are making sales. People are generating revenue. They're out there from before they were scared to get in front of the camera. That's 8 weeks. It just happened like that. And you get feedback.
Jon, it was awesome having you as part of our community. You got to stay in this community. I just think you're just beginning. So promise me that you're going to keep executing on this. So like end of next year when you come over here for New Year's, we can be talking about all this huge change you affected in the world. Because we need you, Jon.
I will. It's an inspiration. Well, we need you.
All right. Well, let's keep both doing it, okay?
Yeah. All right, man.
Thanks, Jon.
It's a deal.
Okay.